ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with my final review of Callous Invitational 6 play-ins. The finals of my bracket against Puck. A formidable opponent, and you could say all eyes were on me against Puck. Now, unfortunately this one ended in a defeat. I didn't quite make it. My big moment of my career, finals of CI6 play-ins, a chance at the main event, a chance at making history. Jim unfortunately fumbled it. He didn't quite get there. But, gonna go over the games anyway, and my team choices. First team we brought was a Swords Dance Celebi team. With a Sub-Leechy Aerodactyl, a DD Mence, and a Blissey. I've been a fan of Blissey on physical offense, actually, because I think that leaning too much on Snorlax is a bit unreliable. Snorlax so prone to getting chipped, a little bit hard for it to heal back up. Very vulnerable against things like Starmie and Zapdos, especially with spikes up. So, I really like a Blissey. I went with HP Grass here, because if you look at Pack's usage, this was against me he used this Flygon, and that was alarming. Look at his Swampert usage. Swampert, 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 Swampert. It's like through the roof, the Swampert usage here. It's unbelievable. So, I don't know, he used Flygon in this game years ago. So I was like, okay, let me just go crazy on trying to counter Swampert. I got a Grass Blissey. Try to get a surprise turn on Swampert, maybe. I've got the Celebi, obviously a safe switch into Swampert. That's about it on this team. Specifically the Grass Blissey. Makes me a little bit better versus Swampert. I'm not trying to hard counter it too hard, I suppose. My initial idea was Dragon Dance Tyranitar with HP Grass, but I decided against that. The reason I went with Ancient Power on this Celebi, I wanted to be able to beat a Raw Zapdos and also Moltres. Common switch-ins against Celebi, and both can like completely shut down the Swords Dance plan. So I figured Ancient Power, I want to cover those. He has used Molt quite a bit, so I want to like, if he did bring Molt, I would have probably won, because this Celebi lures in Molt and then just kills it. Ancient Power, not necessarily a very common or expected option, so that was my idea. Perhaps fishing for that a little bit too hard here. Ended up being a tough matchup what we played against, so let's look at the game. Ended up being very difficult for Aero to break through, and I think it might have been a bad decision to bring Aero, actually. Aero was a bit... I've been bringing Aero all the time, and I was aware of that. I was aware of the fact that I've brought Aero a lot in this tournament, and people might prepare for that, but I figured an SD Pass Aero kind of does a different thing to Choice Band Aero on a Spikes team. A Swords Dance Aero is a more... Swords Dance Pass Sub-Leechy Aero is more explosive and game-ending. It's more of a win condition versus a Choice Band Aero, which is more of like a momentum gainer. Spikes Abuser, guy who forces things out and makes progress off of sacks and any opportunity to get in, you get big momentum. This Aero isn't like coming in and doing that very often. It's more a game ender, a late game cleaner. I've been doing this play a lot. When you intimidate the Tar, they can't do much with Brick Break into Bliss, so going Bliss is pretty safe against it versus a potential Ice Beam. And even a Rock Slide, you can tank it and not be too scared. They don't often go for Rock Slide when they're intimidated, especially because of the risk of Brick Break. It's not a good play. So if they're staying in, it's probably because they have Ice Beam. Or the rare counter. So I like going Bliss here. It covers whatever happens most of the time. We end up getting a Starmie. And this was a sort of a tactical error by me later on. He T-Waves immediately, revealing that he is a defensive Starmie. Which is important information. Very important information. We sort of trade T-Waves here. And I Ice Beam, expecting a switch to something random. End up catching a Celebi, but He recover fishes for full paras. I end up just going and T-waving him rather than going for the ice beam over and over. It's not going to be a good 1v1 with my para chance. He goes back out to Starmie. I go Celebi. So right here, I don't know what the heck, why I didn't just go for a Swords Dance immediately. But I didn't. I actually go back to Blissey, I believe. I guess that it is a bit dangerous going for a Swords Dance there. I mean, the Skarm could have just forced it out with Roar. But it's still better to go for Swords Dance because right here, I could have just clicked Ancient Power into this Skarmory, chipped it, guaranteeing Mag killing with T-Bolt, and also giving me a chance to get roared into Mag, a 1 in 6 chance. So that was a slightly better, would have been slightly better. Unfortunately, we don't hit the Magnet T-Bolt roll. It's 75% to kill Skarm, and I got the low roll, unfortunately, and he gets to roar Skarm out. Doesn't really matter. I mean, this Skarm is practically dead, especially because I've got like these cleaners that finish it off. Skarm is never really going to chip heal back up that much, even though it's known to chip heal like crazy. Can't chip heal that much, so I go Starmie on this. Sorry, Salamence. I go back Celebi. I'm trying to make something happen with Swords Dance Celebi, but I'm getting forced out too much. It's a bit rough. I BP to Swampert. He shows that he's Crunch. So I take a lot on this Swampert, which kind of sucks because then that makes me a lot worse versus what ended up being an arrow in the back. So yeah, this wasn't necessarily like representing Pursuit Tar or Crunch Tar. I actually thought it was physical. It does make sense with like a Spinner and a Skarm, but you know, not necessarily. Could be any Tar really on this team except like a Lum super offensive speed invested Tar. It's something bulky. Could be Dragon Dance bulky Tar, could be physical, could be special. So slightly bad going to Pert there, but you know, whatever. So I'm forced out here. If he's HP flying, it is a pretty good roll to kill, and also HP bug threatens me. He does end up revealing HP flying based on this damage, so now I know it's not HP bug. Oh, no, that was later, sorry. He clicked Rock Slide here. So, technically I could have clicked BP if I was crazy, but he was obviously forcing me out, so really would have been a nuts play if I stayed and Baton Passed there. You can't really fault me for that one, folks, I don't think. That would have been a not-so decision. I go back Celebi on this. And I believe I take this opportunity to Ancient Power the incoming Aerodactyl. Get some chip on it. My EV spread for this was like no attack, because Ancient Power after a Swords Dance kills both Moltres and you can't really EV to kill a bulky Zap anyway. So I was like, there's no real point in investing in attack. Maybe a benchmark I should have gone for was 2-hitting Aerodactyl, because I'm only doing 41. There's also an argument to be made to run HP Rock for the little bit of extra base power, and then a little bit of attack investment to 2-hit Aerodactyl, or even 1-hit it after a Swords Dance, so could have been a bit of a builder misplay there. That would have maybe increased my chance to win this game, because then this Aerodactyl can come in once more, and live versus this Celebi. So, if he couldn't come in, if my Celebi was threatening to kill it next time, that would have been a lot better. Not a benchmark I ever thought of, but that might be something I do in the future if I run rock coverage on Swords Dance Celebi. And it might be an argument for HP Rock actually being superior to Ancient Power despite the hack's chance. This is where he reveals HP Flying. Based on this damage, because we double resist it, HP Bug would have done a bit more, so that reveals HP Flying. So I know that Celebi can live. If it heals up to like 80 and happens to get a Swords Dance off, it can actually live and BP out. So that could be a game plan for me. But with Celebi so chipped, it's really hard to heal, and also like the spike up, it's really hard to get to that amount of health. It's almost impossible for that to happen. In comes Celebi again. And this time I did not go for the Ancient Power. I go to swamp it and get 2 hit by HP Fly. I could have gone to Salamence here. But he was kind of in my head. He clicked Rock Slide last time. So I was like, kind of in my head here. I was like, he could Rock Slide my Mence. I'm frightened. Help me. I get Arrow in here. Take the opportunity. I sub up. And try to go for like a mash miss on this. For some reason in my head I was like, I can't sub because he can protect. But that doesn't make any sense. If I sub on the protect, that's good for me. So I could have played for a mash miss. But also if I sub over and over, he's Leech Seed healing. And it only takes 2 leftovers chips to heal out of range of Earthquake. So I was slightly worried about that too. It would have only taken 2 leftovers to heal out of range of the Earthquake, so I don't know. But then again, if I have a sub up, I can just go for 2 Earthquakes. Probably a misplay by me. I should fish for the miss. Anyway. I make another... I was considering dancing here, and I didn't do it. I didn't think he would allow it. I thought that, like, if you sack Metagross from his perspective, it's just the safe play that kind of guarantees you a victory, because then you just get Starmie in or something. I was like, why would he ever play around Earthquake? But I was wrong. He goes Skarmory. Maybe I thought of that incorrectly, but I would think. I suppose after a dance, Starmie lives anyway. Skarmory's low. It's kind of a middle ground that checks what he does, checks what I do. So I guess it does make that sense in that regard. And it's over at this point. I'm just getting effed. GG pack. That was doable if I made different choices. Like I said, I could Swords Dance on the turn that I was in on Starmie, and then like Ancient Power the Skarmory. Maybe if I invested in attack on the Celebi, Arrow's more threatened, and yeah. Other than that, I got pretty owned. He never let me ever get this plan off. Kind of rough. This was my game 2 team. It's a bizarre looking team, I'll admit. Most people consider it to be illegal to run a fighter on a Spikes team. I would disagree. I think that the reason I've got Metacam, I just think it's a good anti-meta Pokemon at the moment. It's really good versus the like Claydol, Skarmory, Salamence cores that a lot of people are running because it threatens all of them. You can... Because of your speed tier, you can actually outspeed most of the Salamences people run these days. They go down to about 270 or 280 speed. Those are the benchmarks. So Metacam just outruns them. It also outruns Moltres. It outruns Zapdoses that are going slower. It outruns... yeah, Salamences. And it outruns Breloom. So, because of its speed tier, it kind of is just the perfect amount of speed. No one covers Metacam. No one covers this speed benchmark of 284. So, I really like it for that reason. You can just weasel your way into... like, you can actually 2-hit Immense if it comes in on you as a defensive switch, and then 2-hit it with Rock Slide. Skarm coming in, you can threaten Punch. Shadow Ball can threaten Gar, can threaten Claydol, and then Brick Break kind of hits everything for a lot of damage. Obviously, neutral hit. So it also kind of supplements the lack of sand because we do have Gengar and Skarm. And this threatened Snorlax, like it just straight up kills Snorlax after a bit of Spikes chip, so... yeah, I was hoping to maybe... It does require you to click the right buttons, though. That's the thing about it. And the reason people don't like to run it on Spikes teams is because the stuff that switches into Metacam are like Spikes immune Pokemon. But I mean, I think you can make the same argument. Like people run like DD Ments on Spikes teams, and that the main switching for that is freaking Skarmory, especially if you don't have Mag. So it's not like a, you know, rules are meant to be broken and all that. I just think it's a good Pokemon. It's especially good, like, maybe if your Scam gets magged, you get Medi in, and then all of a sudden you're threatening the whole metagame. Like, you're threatening to kill the mag, you're threatening to hit the incoming Mence, you're threatening to hit the incoming Gengar, you're threatening to punch the incoming Skarmory. Like, if you click the right button, you can threaten absolutely everything with this Pokemon. So, I really like it. I'm running Grass on this Gengar to have one extra option versus Swampert, who I'm a bit weak against. And Sing Bliss, I've talked about in the past. I do like it on more aggressively paced Spikes teams. In general, I'm a absolute Blissey spammer right now. I love what it just does so much in one Pokemon slot. And it can have a moveset that fits just about any type of team, pace-wise. So, I really love Blissey at the moment. Let's take a look at the game. This one was kind of a tragedy, but I also got outplayed. I go Scam on the Tar. I then go to Blissey on the Zapdos. And then Medicam is in. I was thinking about punching and I couldn't pull the trigger. I was too frightened. I was thinking about punching right here because look at this. I've revealed he's not only raw, but he's revealed the fact that he's slower. And he doesn't want to take a Rock Slide. I was thinking maybe he wants to take one and Toxic me because I'm threatening or something, but that's nuts. He's obviously switching out here. I didn't punch. I didn't do it. You know, with Metacam, you got to go crazy. You got to make the ballsy plays, and I just didn't do it. I didn't do it. And I regretted it. And I allowed a spike. I go for the focus now, and he goes Gengar. I was thinking, like, maybe he doesn't have Peck, and even if he did, he might click spikes here anyway, because I have the switch out to Salamence and my own Skarmory. He probably just wants the permanent progress. He ends up going Gar, which it's nice that he revealed this. You know, it gives me a bit of info. And goes back Scam. I go Bliss. I go own Scam and taunt him. I'm running taunt Scam on this team. Just a bit of anti-spikes technology. I go Bliss. I believe I click Sing here. This is the nice thing about Sing. You get these safe switch-ins and then you can fish for sleep. I mean, look how nice this is, theoretically. I slept a whole Skarmory. It's pretty nuts. I Ice Beam. He does go Zap, and this is like... It looks amazing for Jim right now. I just froze his Rest Zap. This is beautiful. Skarm's asleep. How could I possibly F this up? Plus, I get the right switch here, go Medi. So, I'm back in it. I'm almost back in it. I love the way I did that. I love my decisions there. We go Brick Break, simple. And right here... I really thought he would go to Gengar because, like, I'm threatening Punch. This is so dangerous. He's 0 sleep turns. Like, he's a nutcase for staying here. And I click Shadow Ball. Crazy play to stay. Like, what the heck, man? And I'm like, okay, well, now I'll just Punch. He's only 1 turn asleep, so I got a good chance for this to go through. And he freaking wakes up and pecks me. This was a different game if I punched through this Scam. And I'm surprised, like, it's a bit surprising to me. It's so risky because if this Scam goes down, he loses his Sleep Sack. He loses his most important wall. He loses, like, a lot. Like, Blissey can come back in and sing something else. Medi threatens the entire planet. I guess it's hard for him to wake this guy up, but I don't know, man. This is an important guy, and you got... The Gengar... I guess he didn't want to risk the Gengar. He thought I might make the Shadow Ball play. Kudos to him, because that won him the whole game. That was... Like, I need the Medi to break through this, and now I don't have it anymore. I go for the Ice Punch in the face of Zapdos. Nice maneuvering by him, getting Jirachi in safely versus a resisted hit. I get Blissey in, however. And... I'm frightened of sub-Calm Mind Bliss. So I go to Swampert. Which allows Scam in. Turned out to be 3 attacks Grass Bliss, which was... not what I expected, but good set. I clicked Drill Peck there. Thought he might go to, like, Gengar or something. And I didn't expect Peck Toxic. I thought he would be Taunt or Protect, and I'm kind of a moron for this one. I suppose I should play around Toxic, but I didn't do it. I could have just gone to my own Skarmory. And now my freaking Swampert is chipped, and this Tar is looking insane. 3 spikes are up. It's all over for Jim. It's a tragedy. It's very non-epic. And I don't know, I'm just like in shambles right now. I'll be honest, I was in shambles at this point. The Medi getting pecked was absolutely broke my heart. I'm gonna be in the moment, I'm gonna be honest. And then yeah. And then the Swampert getting toxic. That's when my soul left my body, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go Salamence against Jirachi. Maybe he clicks a Wish or Sub or something. I don't even know what I'm thinking. And I just take the biggest psychic of all time. And he tries to Thor his Zapdos like a genius, and I get the... Of course I play into it and miss like a complete buffoon. But I Dragon Claw the Zap down. At least I killed something. We get Skarmin on this guy. I clicked Raw. I thought he would... Thought we go Jirachi. I could have made another Spike or Peck this Gengar, but he goes to Gengar. He punches me. I was considering pecking here as well. Not that it would be that much of a counterplay to punch. He can just kind of spam it. He doesn't take much from Peck, but I was like, I sensed a punch coming. I didn't click Peck. I could have also gone like Gengar threatened Wisp. Even though I'm not running it, I can threaten it. It's kind of dangerous for him. But I just let myself get punched. And then I click Roar there. I could have gone to Swampert on the Rock Slide. Wouldn't have been too bad. Pump is really threatening. Even though I might as well use Swampert there. I should have done that. And I go Swampert against this. I still think that it's sub Carmine. That's still what I'm thinking. And then turns out 3 attacks HP Grass. I just drop. At least that lets Blissey beat it 1v1. And then I go for the Hail Mary Sing here, which I do hit. I'm technically not out of the game. I've got, like, my Gengar and Mixments can still threaten everything almost. I just need to chip Gengar one time and somehow land the hit on it. I get Rock Slide flinched. I do successfully force out Tar with the Wisp threat, which I don't have Wisp, but it, you know, you can bluff it. Gets Rachi in for free. And I overthought this. I clicked HP Grass. I thought he would go Tar on my switch to Bliss. Because I can pretty freely just go to Bliss against this Jirachi and then just click Sing. And maybe hacks my way to a victory through sleeping the incoming Tyranitar. But he, I guess, didn't care about that. He was like, well, 3 spikes are up. I'm psychicking the Bliss. I could get a drop. And I just don't respect Sing. He can just go Tar into it, and it's a high chance I do miss Sing. I guess I understand it. You don't really have to play risky there. And I mean, if he did go Tar, he could have lost the game, so. True enough. Some may call that a misplay. I don't know. I was trying to go for something crazy and bring it back. Been guessing wrong all game. And then I do have a chance to sing the incoming Tar and I don't hit it. Go for another one. He gets the roll that puts me into sand range and I just drop after getting flinched. And Brick Break doesn't even drop this. I go for an Ice Punch for some reason, but it doesn't really matter. I could have theoretically, like, hacked my way to a victory, but, like, literally in, like, a 1 in a million circumstance, but nope. So this one was way more winnable than the last one. Unfortunately, I just could not frickin' guess right against this guy. And yeah, I was a bit, like, losing my Medi kind of mentally effed me up there. So I was trying to make something happen. Despite a misplay that I was like desperately trying to make something happen with the attempted HP grass. And, you know, I guess if I went Bliss, I could have maybe done something with Sing. Oh well. He played insane. He's a gamer. So that's GG's. Like I said, happy to even be in the finals. I'm happy with how I did. And I'm happy for the people that supported my run. That wanted me to make it through. Thank you guys. Thanks to Callous for inviting me. Thanks to Simeon, King of Iron Frisk, Big Will for their help with preparation and team building. Who I bounced ideas off and... Yeah, Callous's advice to me before the tourney was to test my teams a bit more. Make sure I'm happy with the teams before I decide to bring them, because a problem I've had in the past is just loading teams that I haven't tested too much. Maybe I do like them at the time, like you can tunnel vision and maybe you don't notice a team's flaws, or there's like a flaw that you... like a bad matchup you have that you didn't notice while you were testing it on ladder. That happens all the time if you only test on ladder. So, yeah, testing with people who know the format that can see with a fresh pair of eyes and notice, like, oh, you're weak to frickin' Starmie here, can really help out. So, I definitely took his advice to heart and tried to bring more solid teams this time. Didn't work out in this particular game. What's funny, I think if I brought this team to game 1, the Medi team, and this team to game 2, it would have gone a lot better. But whatever. I probably might have had the wrong idea, like, going into it with what I was trying to bring. It is hard to think of, like, what to bring. But I am getting way better at that. I'm getting way better at team choice and preparation. And Retro Cup, which I just played, was a good little practice for this in terms of preparing for specific opponents and also team building more collaboratively. You know, I've always team builded mostly by myself in a vacuum, not getting second opinions. And to an extent, I want to have faith in my wacky ideas. Like, I think a lot of people would not like this team, this particular team, because, like, oh, you don't run Median with spikes, you don't run... There's no tar on this. It looks weird, but it makes sense to Jim, you know. It makes sense to me. So I want to have faith that this team can work. And I have done very well with this team. I hit number 3 on ladder with this team in my best ladder run, using pretty much just this team. So I really believe in this team. And I think it could have won this match if I made different decisions. It wasn't the team's fault, I think. Like, a Medi does threaten everything here, theoretically. And... yeah, like, if I just kind of got outplayed in this match, I think. I don't think it was my team's fault. So, this team, on the other hand, I think was a bit more gimmicky. Maybe not as solid. Maybe... I think something like this can get surprise value, and... it's not something I've brought thus far, so I thought it might be able to get a bit of surprise value, but unfortunately didn't play out how I thought. Not all your ideas are going to work, so that's okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll probably go over my Retro Cup games too, and I'm going to speak with Reza about hosting our Holden Garden tournament. We've got to figure out how to sort that out. Holden Garden is a mod for Gen 3 that I think is really cool, so I want to host a tourney for that. Stay tuned for that, folks. And, yeah, I'm probably going to do a Road to Rank 1 video. That's something people wanted to see. I've never hit Rank 1. Highest I've been is Rank 3. So I do want to hit Rank 1 one day. So I think I can do it. And we're going to probably make it into a little YouTube series. Thank you to the fans. Check out my links in the description and subscribe and like and all that. And stay tuned for Callous Invitational main event. fan favorite PK Leach made it into the event against all odds. He did it. I knew he could do it. I was predicting him getting through from the start. I know that guy's nuts, but not everyone thought that way. He proved them wrong. I love an up-and-comer, an underdog going crazy. Love his team choices and stuff. Very cool player. He's going to win the main event too, gamers. Jim Cool is a PK Leach supporter. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.